Hello, this is Philip Cargon, welcoming you to another Tea with a Druid session. It's tea number 93. And I have a treat for you this evening, which is, but first of all, do tell me when you arrive and say where you're from. And it's lovely to see you. I can see the bubbles coming up, so I know somebody's there. And Ellie is the first person to say hello. And Larry from Hillsborough, Oregon. That's great. Paul from Chesterfield in Derbyshire, and Daniel from Germany, and Anna and Iselinda from Portugal. Hooray, hooray, that's fantastic. And Angelica from Germany. Lovely to see you all on this autumn night. So those of you who've had a look at my book, Seek Teachings Everywhere, might have come across the section on Druidry and Christianity with poetry written by Roma Johnson. Well, Roma happens to be staying with us at the moment, and so I thought, wouldn't it be lovely to have Roma as our mystery guest tonight? Of course, it's no longer a mystery because I just told you who it's going to be, but up until now it was a mystery. And so Roma's here with us, and she's going to talk with you. So Roma's from California. We've known her for many years. She's a really good friend. And Roma, do come and take the seat.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Roma. And I'm not from California anymore, but I was. I am a Druid and I am a poet, and I wanted to talk to you about some of my own experiences as I became a Druid and how I came to be a teacher of indigenous Celtic spirituality, Druidry, and Celtic Christianity. Now that seems like a seamless kind of formation, but it didn't start out that way for me. I came to Druidry wholeheartedly after years and years of seeking. I tried this, I tried that, I experimented with different things. I was a Christian as a child. I was raised in the Christian church, but I was lapsed, partly because the times that I grew up into as a young woman were filled with political problems and problems within the church, and I felt like it just wasn't where I wanted to be. When I found Druidry, I thought, wow, this is it. I felt like it really resonated with me spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally. And I embraced it with open arms and open heart and open mind. But it didn't come totally easy to me because I felt odd about leaving Christianity totally behind. I had grown up in the church. I went to Sunday school. My father was a deacon. And I don't know if I felt guilty, although every once in a while I felt somewhat of a heretic, but I felt like I wasn't comfortable in just saying goodbye to Christianity, and yet I didn't feel like it fit with my new Druidry, and I struggled with this for a long time, thinking I had to make a choice. In fact, I thought for a long time I thought their day would come. There'd be a day when I would say, okay, today's the day I make the choice. And today's the day I'm going to decide firmly, am I a Christian or am I a Druid? And then I would somehow throw away the other side. Now, maybe this resonates with some of you, I'm not sure, but Philip has told me that many people have expressed to him these feelings of uneasiness about the way they were raised or the church they belonged to or their Christian roots and this new finding of Druidry. So I'm hoping that this is speaking to you. I think it's touched upon in Philip's book, in the section on Druidry and Christianity. And certainly this was a big, big part of my life. So I sat down in typical fashion. I'm a poet, so one of the things I do when I want to decide what I'm feeling is I write. I write every day. And in true bardic fashion, sometimes the truth comes to me through the poems as I write them. And this was true in this case. I sat down to write about how I was feeling about this impending decision that I thought was upon me. And I wrote a poem that I'd like to share with you tonight. And the poem is called Sisters. And I'm going to read it to you. And I'm hoping that this is speaking to you as you hear it. So, sisters, what if they were to meet in a cloistered garden there on Iona? What would they say to one another? I am the bride of Christ. I am the bride of no man. I clothe myself in humility and walk in silence. I paint my naked body and scream in the wind. I do good works. I carry a wee knife. I spend my most precious hours here among the sacred texts. I read the ogam of trees, the placement of stars, the auguries of birds. I yearn in passion for the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I embrace the deep beating thrum of the stone. I await the soft light of blessedness to imbue me. I call down the lightning from the dark. I know that I am a child of God. I am a woman fully grown. My world is within these graceful walls. My world surrounds yours utterly. I partake of the body and blood. I eat the dripping honeycomb pulled from the hive, the mistletoe pearls cut in moonlight from the ancient oak. Evening comes. Soon bells will ring for prayer in candlelight. Night comes, stirring the long grass. Stars call me to dance among their multitude. I must go in. I must go out. Farewell, my wild sister. Go with God. Fare thee well, sister. In Awen we are one. In Awen we are one. Once I wrote that poem, it kind of shocked me that I wasn't bifurcated anymore. I wasn't cut in half. There was no decision to make. I want to be the wild woman. I want to run in the rain. I want to shriek in the wind. But I also want to go into the cloister. I want to read sacred texts. I want to go deep in contemplation. But that doesn't mean that I have to choose. It just means that I have to realize that bringing these two parts of me together makes me a whole person and enables me to correlate and relate and teach the conjunction of Druidry and Christianity, which lives in me and hopefully can live in others. So with that, I'd like to lead you on a guided meditation. Unless, perhaps, Philip, do you have any questions going forward? Well, he's looking
No, I
at
think
me. He's looking at me like
Well,
he
of course,
has-
I'm looking at you. You're the star. You're on the show.
He's looking at me like he's bursting to ask a question.
No, this is a huge topic, but I think that's a beautiful introduction.
Thank
and
you.
let's do the meditation, then we can kind of go beyond the rational mind.
Okay, thank you. All right, so in order to meditate, we have to first just bring ourselves to be present wherever we are. If you're looking at your screen, or if you're in your favorite den, or if you're sitting on the couch with the dog, be present with where you are. Be calm. And begin to slow your breathing down. And if you'd like to, think about closing your eyes. And just feel yourself centering. And now imagine yourself getting up from where you are. In your imagination, you walk out, and not far from where you've been sitting, you see a gate, and the gate leads onto a path. You open the gate, and you begin to walk down the path. And as you walk, be aware of everything. Be aware of the air you're breathing. Be aware of the sky. What color is the sky? Are there clouds? Is it sunny? Is it dark? Be aware of the trees along the side of the path. Be aware of any bird call you might hear. Be aware of the sounds of the city or your home or your house fading and leaving you behind. And you walk down the path, you feel yourself calming down and feeling freed up from all your daily things. And as you get to the bottom of the path, you see before you this beautiful old church, an old stone church, perhaps covered with lichen or vines or overgrowth. The beautiful stone church sitting in a beautiful stone churchyard with old headstones, some in poetry, some with wings, some with crosses. And right next to the church is the most beautiful grove of trees. Tall, beautiful, stately, ancient trees that form a circle. And in the circle is a very peaceful, lighted space. And as you draw near to the church and the grove, you see that between them, in the middle between them, is a sacred well, an old sacred well with pure water bubbling forth or whispering out. This well is shared by both the grove and the church. And I would suggest walking around a bit. Walk into the space that you think is calling to you. Walk into the space that feels peaceful to you, that makes you feel happy. And let's just sit there quietly for a couple of minutes in silence, in this peaceful space that's speaking just to you. If you feel that you would like to move around to another part of this space, sit in a different part of the space for a moment. Take another few minutes. Go there. If you're finding perfect peace where you are, then this is a good thing. Take a moment to attune yourself to this space wherever you are. Listen to whatever sounds that you hear that come into your consciousness. The rustle of the trees in the grove, perhaps a chime from the church, the burble of the well. And let yourself be filled with this sound, and let this sound go throughout your body to make you feel at peace and in tune and connected. And now think about getting up from where you have been, and once again, walking around and just taking a look. If you're in the grove, take a look across the stone wall to the churchyard. If you're in the churchyard, take a look across the stone wall to the grove. Walk around the well if you want. Dip your hands in the water and put some on your face. Bless yourself. Okay? Because now it's time to go. It's time to leave your space. You might want to turn and bless your space in turn. And whatever, start walking back out to the path, because we're going to walk back up the path to where we came from. Again, pay attention. What do you see along the path? What are the colors? What do you smell? What are you feeling? Is it dry? Is it rainy? Is it bright? Is it dark? Let yourself be filled with how the path might be speaking to you as you walk back to the gate. And when you get to the gate, open it, walk through, walk back to wherever you started from, and gradually allow yourself to reattune, come back into the room, come back into the world, come back into your body, readjust your breath, maybe take a couple of deep breaths. Open your eyes. Hi. Come back into the world. And then think about this experience maybe over the next few days or hours. What was it that called to you? Where was it that called to you? Where did you feel comfortable? And was this really a choice? For me, it turned out not to be a choice at all. It turned out to be a coming to wholeness within myself. So thank you for letting me share this with you. Now, Philip, you can ask your question.
Yes. I'll come and read the poem.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Roman. That was just lovely.
Quite welcome.
So now I thought to finish our session this evening, Jay is saying, my Gemini heart is beating. Thank you so much for this beautiful gift. That's lovely, Jay. That's great. Maddie is saying, in South Wales, I couldn't begin to pronounce that, on the top from a hill, an elfin hill, is a little church where a married, symbolic to a spirit man elf, protect and bless this earth. Magic surrounded the little people. It was about 30 years ago. So like your meditation. Thanks for remembering. That's lovely. Let me finish with this section. Both of Roma's poems are in Sikh teachings everywhere. This one is Jesus and Merlin. What if Jesus and Merlin were to meet at twilight, in the garden, in the grove, one looking forward to the skull of Golgotha, one looking back on the sacred head of Bran? What would they say to one another, these men, these gods who live in time beyond their lives, one forward, one retrograde? Let this cup pass from me, says the one. May the earth open and swallow me, may the sky fall upon me, may the sea rise and cover me, may fires consume me, says the other. Take this cup and drink from it, says the one. This is the cauldron of inspiration and wisdom, says the other. Do this in remembrance, says the one. I know the cup from which the wave has overflowed. I know the end of the dawn, answers the other. What if they do meet there in the grove, in the garden? Two avatars, one about to ascend, one about to descend, each serving the chalice in his way. What if Merlin's Aphallan and Jesus's Rood are the same tree? One rides it to his destiny, one sits beneath to prophesy. What could they give to one another, these prophets circling in their time-long orbits? Could Merlin say, the seed is planted, the tree will grow. There is a thorn in Avalon that bears fruit in thy name. Would Jesus reply wistfully, kiss Nimue for me. Tell her I love her beauty and her power. Roma and I were talking before this session about how the symbol of the Grail unites these two streams of pre-Christian and Christian. The pre-Christian image of the cauldron, the belly of the goddess, the womb, and in some ways the breast as well, because it feeds people, becomes the Grail, the cup. And somehow in the Grail you have both these traditions present, united. These things are mysterious, I think. And I think with many of these things, we don't have to fully grasp everything with our everyday minds. And in fact, I think one of the reasons why we're drawn to spiritual teachings is because they allow us, they give us permission, if you like, to have mystery, to not fully understand, to allow the unknown a place in our lives so that we don't always have to see everything in black and white or with super clarity. That's why mist is such a favorite in Celtic stories. There can be a little bit of mist and twilight to allow the elves and the fairies to live with us too. So thank you so much, Roma. That was really lovely to have you. And I hope when you're back in Princeton, where you live now, you will do another tea for us. And in the meanwhile, thank you to everybody so much for participating. Do write your comments, any experiences you had. You know, you don't have to do it right away because this stays up. And it's also on YouTube as well, as you know. So have a wonderful week. And next week, I'm going to be away. So you're going to have another mystery guest. And so I hope you have a great week in the meanwhile. And lots and lots of love and many blessings. Bye.